So if you're going to be doing a redraft of 2019, then you're having a conversation between Zion and Ja Morant for number one. The case for Ja is, to me, not as much fear of him getting injured. Because with Zion, we've already seen some lower body things, and I guess the other thing could be if you feel like a great guard is still going to have more of an impact than a guy like Zion. And so much of Zion's ceiling, I guess, depends on him being a really good ball handler, or just pretty good at least. Personally, I'm still going to go with Zion. I think he was like one of the 20 or maybe 25 best players in the league in just the 19 games he played, and maybe Ja squeaks in there, but I don't think it's a maybe with Zion, right? Now, one thing to say about Ja is I think his scoring is going to be the most interesting thing. Like, how many threes is he going to attempt? Okay, because he only shot 2 threes a game this season at a good percentage, and even he also only shot about 4 free throws a game, and he still got to about 18 points. So if he can take off on both of those things and make his scoring a little more efficient, of which it already is pretty decently efficient, I should say, then I guess that would be the avenue for him being a better player than Zion. But I still think that Zion's ceiling is a little higher. But I would not fault you for going Ja, especially when we take into account the fear of Zion having lower body injuries throughout his career. And also, shooting matters, and if there's a chance that Zion's shooting is never going to totally take off, and perhaps you could argue that it's easier to build a team around Ja Morant than it is to build one around Zion. I mean, I don't know, like, it's playmaker versus Zion, who isn't technically a playmaker, but he's going to create a lot of space anyway, so it's an interesting thing. But I'm going to go Zion 1, Ja Morant 2. For number 3, I am not going to go with Brandon Clark, which is what I thought I was going to do when I first started considering this. But I think I'm actually going to go Tyler Herro 3, because I think his ceiling as a shot maker, as a shooter, and all that puts him at a level higher than kinda everybody here. I mean, I appreciate everything Brandon Clark does and the creative things he does to get open between setting screens and hitting his floaters and attacking the offensive glass and cutting to the rim, and all that's great. But I feel like Tyler Herro one day could shoot like 39-40% on 10 threes a game. Yeah, he would have to really progress on his shooting, but based on where he is right now, I mean, is it insane to believe that? He's shooting 39% on 5 threes a game in his rookie season, And the guy's just so confident with his shot attempts, which that could be a little bit of a fear throughout his career if he sometimes takes some bad ones, but you could also view that as a guy who's never going to get rattled, and he's always going to be ready for a big game, whether it's, just the regular season, postseason, whatever. Herro just kind of has the personality of a guy that I want in a big game, and when I combine that with his scoring potential, I just think that gives him a higher ceiling than a lot of people in this draft class. Now, if you think about a similar player like Kobe White, he was showing some of that off as well when the season ended. It's just Herro did it kind of from the beginning of the year, whereas Kobe White was kind of up and down all season, so that makes me feel a little bit better about Tyler Herro. Anyway, if we move on to number 4, I think now I would go Brandon Clark. I don't really know where his shooting is going to be, but I feel like he's going to be so good at all the other stuff, and he's going to be such an efficient inside scorer through rolling and going off the dribble, and not like ISO type of off the dribble stuff, but like attacking closeouts and that sort of thing. And if you trap the ball handler, I think he can definitely go off the dribble there. And just being a really smart player on both sides of the floor. He's already pretty good defensively, which you don't see often in rookies, and I just feel like Brandon Clark is guaranteed to be a good player because he just kind of knows what he's doing in all areas of the game, even if I think he might cap out at being like a 15, 16-point scorer, but I'll still take that. So Brandon Clark is going to be number 4 for me. The contrast between Herro and Clark, I think, is interesting. Now, if any of these are going to get me in trouble, it could be this one. I'm going to go RJ Barrett. I am so on the RJ Barrett hill at this point, I might as well just live it out to the end. He has not had a great rookie season, but I just think it's because the Knicks have just handled the team around him so poorly, and the spacing is bad, and he doesn't have a coach who can just let him kind of do what he needs to do. And I think if you give that guy shooting and let him handle the ball more, and you allow him to be that point forward that I think he can really be, and allow him to finish at the rim, I do think he shows some real like Jimmy Butler-esque potential, even if I don't even think I had him for my All-NBA second team. So yeah, but I got RJ. I think 6th I would go PJ Washington. You could make the argument that PJ Washington is kind of like Brandon Clark, but a better three-point shooter. Perhaps. I mean, maybe if PJ Washington had Ja Morant making shots for him, then his efficiency would skyrocket, and if you put Brandon Clark on the Hornets, it'd be a little different for him. But I don't know. I think Brandon Clark just shows a little more savviness with doing stuff within the three-point line than PJ Washington does. But PJ seems like a damn good finisher, you know? I mean, the 37% on 4 threes a game is there. He shot 66% at the basket. And he's got some decent size. I mean, 6'7", 235, power forward. Maybe some small ball center potential in there. We don't know. I mean, not everybody can do what the Houston Rockets are doing, but it gets you thinking a little bit more, doesn't it? So, I do like PJ at number 6. So this is the thing. It's like, do I think any of these guys after basically Herro can be a star? I don't know. I mean, I guess I am going to bat for RJ a little bit, so maybe, but I do think a lot of these dudes are guaranteed to be just good players. For the 7th pick, I'm having another conflict between like strong inside scorers and dude who can bomb from outside. This version is Kobe White versus Rui Hachimura, Eric Paschall. Thibault is beginning to get into my brain now, even if he's not like the big inside scorer, but you know what he does. It's an interesting thing, right? It's like, how much do you value shooting, and how much do I want to double down on what Kobe White did the last couple weeks of the season as the player he can actually be? I mean, he was dropping 30 multiple times to close the year. I don't think I have the guts for Kobe. I'm actually going to go Thibault right here for number 7, because I feel like Thibault is going to be a solid shooter. Like, I feel like he can shoot 35% on like 4 threes a game. I don't think he's going to be like Andre Robertson where you have to completely ignore him, you know what I mean? And we already know he's going to be a massive plus on defense, so I think he's my guy for 7th. Now, it should be mentioned, if I'm going to be thinking about Kobe White, I got to be thinking about Cameron Johnson as well. I mean, his three-point shooting, a little under the radar this year, but consistently good. Basically 40% on 5 threes a game. It might be the only thing he does well, but you can make a career out of it, no doubt. I think I'll go Paschall 9th, though. Like, at a certain point, I do just have to respect guys who can score inside really efficiently. Am I concerned about what his jump shot can be long-term? Yes. And this Warriors team has had no expectations to win, so there's that. But, I mean, Draymond has proven to us how good you can be, especially at power forward, without being the best shooter in the world. So I will go Paschall for, what is this, the 8th pick? Yeah, it is. Number 9, I'm going to go Rui. Rui is similar to Paschall. Rui has shown a bit of a mid-range jumper, which I don't really care about, but it could project to him being a good three-point shooter. His free throw percentage is good, so that's nice. That could be a good sign. His three-point percentage overall in college wasn't great. He didn't shoot too many. So for whatever that's worth, I should have mentioned Paschall's college shooting. 33% on about 500 attempts in 4 years. Don't know. His jump shot freaks me out every time he attempts one. I think now I'm at number 10, I believe. I think I'll go Deandre Hunter for number 10. Apologies to Kobe White. He'll be here eventually. Hunter is one of the more boring rookies, but sometimes being a boring rookie is actually good. Because, I don't know, like 12 points, 5 rebounds, 35% on 5 threes a game, already showing some stuff defensively. I think the reason I would have like Rui or Pascal or PJ Washington a little ahead of him is because I just think those guys have higher potential as scorers. Whereas I think with Hunter, there's a chance that he just kind of ends up being like Trevor Ariza, which is a solid player. I'll take him on my team, but being 3 and D is not everything, you know? But he seems okay enough. And I guess his consistency is why I would pick him over Kobe White, who I now have at number 11, I believe I'm at now. Because with Kobe, it's like, I don't know, I think sometimes it's going to go great, like it did with the 9 games where he basically scored 20 to end the year. And then it's going to be other times where he scores 5 points and goes 1 for 7 from 3, and it's like, well, okay, that's Kobe White for you, you know? Just to add to Deandre Hunter again, like the difference between Hunter and Thibault is I feel like Deandre Hunter could get a couple of all-defense appearances here and there. I think Thibault is going to get all-defense first team like 7 times in his career, you know what I mean? So it's that kind of difference defensively. I'm going to stop at the lottery, so for 12, 13, and 14, this is when you really get deep into it. I'm deciding between, let's see, it's between Cam Reddish, Jarrett Culver, Darius Garland, Kevin Porter, Jordan Poole, Jackson Hayes, Sekou Doumbouya, and maybe like Nikhil Alexander-Walker or something. 3 names. I'm going to go Kevin Porter because I like his off-the-dribble stuff as a bigger guard or wing or whatever. He's like 6'5". So he can be, where am I at, number 12? Cam Johnson, 13, if I didn't mention him in that little spiel 2 seconds ago. Shooting matters, and I like, you know, he's 6'8", he can shoot. There you go, bang. And for the last spot, I guess I'm deciding between Jarrett Culver and Cam Reddish. I mean, I don't know, who do I think is going to be a better shooter? Maybe Cam? Am I going Cameron Reddish 14th? I didn't think he'd be a lottery pick if I did this over again, but maybe he just squeaks in there unless I'm super underrating someone else in here. I don't know, my thing with Culver is I just don't know if that guy's ever going to be able to score, like, at any sort of efficiency, you know? Like, his jumper just, it's all whacked out. His elbow's flying out there, and he's shooting 46% on free throws. Like, it's just rough. Like, I can at least see an avenue for Cam Reddish being a decent NBA player, even if his first season didn't go great, you know what I mean? Like he shot 33% on threes. Like, that's way better than Jarrett Culver's stuff, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I guess I got Cam Reddish 14th. Do I do a recap? Fine. It's Zion, Ja, Tyler Herro, Brandon Clark, RJ Barrett. That one I'm being a little daring. PJ Washington, Matisse Thybulle, Eric Pascal, Rui Hachimura, Deandre Hunter, Kobe White, and then Kevin Porter Jr., Cameron Johnson, and then Cam Reddish. And I believe that's 14. Hopefully I can count. Yeah, I think it is. Apologies to Sekou Doumbouya, the Martin brothers, and a couple other dudes here and there. Yeah, the NBA draft.